wants to be taken seriously, but doing it in a way that feels authentic and natural and in alignment with your values. How do you do that? And it's with the quality of your questions, the quality of how you're asking, the strategy, your tonality. There's so much that goes into sales.
Thing that Kayla's given me is a shift in mindset. And with that new mindset and coming from a place of complete service, in alignment with my energy, with my values, with my integrity, I've been able to make the most sales that I've ever made in my business and help the most people possible.
I think the balance of having prescriptive steps and structure to follow and also giving you permission to be yourself inside of the sales call has been really, really helpful, as well as adding a lot of the discipline that I needed in order to be successful as a sales rep.
For you being able to create a life for your kids, for you being here, showing up today, for you being brave to answer me. I acknowledge you for being a powerful woman. I acknowledge you for being selfless and being there for your little ones. I acknowledge you for being here today. I acknowledge you for being beautiful and powerful and strong and courageous. I don't know what you've been through in your life, but I know you've had some bad days. So I acknowledge you and I honor you for overcoming all those bad days. What is up, ladies? Hello. We are going to be going super laser. We have a large masterclass that's coming up on Thursday. Pardon me as I clean this real fast. There you go. Looks a lot better. So we have a masterclass that's coming up on Thursday on feminine scripting, where we're going to show you how to do your script in a way that's easier for people to want to talk to you if you're a lady. Okay. So what do I mean by that? What the hell are you talking about, Kayla? Like, wouldn't it be interesting if you were using the assets that you naturally had as a woman inside of your scripting calls, inside of your sales calls, scripting calls, my goodness, inside of your sales conversations, that you were using verbiage that sound more like you. The biggest thing I see all the time, which ladies pay attention to this, is that I talk to women all the time. They're like, hey, I'm really trying to learn this whole sales thing. I really want to start practicing. Sometimes, like, the guys in my company, it doesn't feel weird. Like, it feels kind of weird role playing with them because they don't understand me. Or they're like, hey, like, sometimes, like, things in my script seem a little off, or it just doesn't sound like me and I don't want to do it. Okay. So how can you change your script to make it sound more authentic, more like you? Right. And I want to show you how you can close higher with not having to work as hard. And the only way that you can close higher with not having to work as hard is by increasing your skill set. Yes. And so I'm going to walk you through a couple different aspects of this. And I want you to answer, or I want to answer any questions that you might have about our training that's coming up on Thursday. If you want access to that masterclass, just DM me the word masterclass. I think if you're on Instagram, you can look in the link in my bio as well. We have the masterclass link in there. For anybody that wants a little bit additional attention, we do have a VIP session afterwards. We're going to send you an objection handling guide, as well as a script outline, so you can kind of fill in your script as you go with me, so you have some structure. And we'll do an advanced mindset class afterwards to kind of work on some internal work so that you stop self-sabotaging and we work together on breaking through some things that might be holding you back. But let's dive straight in. I hope they have your notebooks. We have about 20 minutes here, and then I have to run into a scripting call that we have with our more advanced training clients. We train multiple different industries, from B2B, B2C, door-to-door, B2G. And regardless of what you sell, wouldn't it make sense if what you were selling and the way that you were communicating felt authentic, it sounded genuine, you felt real, and the prospect felt like you were a knowledgeable expert, and they felt like you understood their problem more than anybody else, and they felt like they wanted to change? which is all you're doing in sales, right? It's really you as a sales rep. It's like how good you are at creating a gap in this person's mind, a gap from where they are currently to where they would want to be. And the bigger you can make this gap, the bigger they feel tension in their body to want to do something about it.
Hey, beautiful. Pardon me as I take just one moment to interrupt this amazing conversation. You have no idea how much it means to me for us to be able to reach the hearts of so many women, which is what our mission is here. So if you can just do us a favor, please make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Please comment and like on this, any takeaways that you got, and please send this to a woman that you know. Whether she's in sales or she just needs a little encouragement, we as women really get to come together and light a fire in others' hearts and really stand to be in a world of what it's like for women to really empower and cheer each other on. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
And if I'm using scripts and no one sat there and kind of taught me how to say it in a way that felt authentic to who I am, it's going to sound awkward. Your ability to communicate, your ability to use your tonality will differentiate you between anybody else, and your prospect will hang on to every single word you say, and it won't have to be as hard. What's up, Nick? It won't have to be as hard, as rough, right? And so it's really important that you learn this because no one actually sits out there and teaches you this stuff. When you think about sales trainings, when you think about communication, like people always say that people are picking up on your verbal and nonverbal cues. They're picking up on your body language, right? But no one ever talks about this stuff when it comes to sales, even though it is literally the most important thing. I can give you the worst script in the whole entire world. And if you know tonality and you understand body language and you know how to pause and you know how to bridge from question to question, you make it sound like a script, like almost like an acting script, like you know how to do it very well, you're going to sell 10 times higher than somebody that has the best script in the world and they literally don't understand tonality and they sound like a freaking scripted robot, monotone robot. So it's enhancing the skill level so you don't have to work as hard, right? Because right now, if you're like, hey, like I'm into the second quarter and like I really don't have money the way that I want to have money right now. I'm not closing as high as I want to right now. Like it's not that you don't have money. It's just that you haven't acquired the skills to get you what you want yet. Which means like if you don't find a way to get these skills, you're going to continue to struggle. So what we want to make sure that you do is you get these skills so that you're not in the same spot next quarter. Like you don't want to be in the same spot next quarter, do you? Right? And that's about applying the skills now and taking the ability to continue to train, to continue to learn, to continue to practice, right? Training is something that you do. It's not something that you do one time. If you go and you read a book on sales and then you think that you're going to apply it, like that book is not going to teach you tone. So it's really important that we break this down and you have a little bit of clarity and make sure that you're registered for this masterclass on Thursday where we're going to break this down section by section so that you can understand this. And we'll give you examples from multiple different industries, regardless if you sell B2B, B2C, door-to-door, B2G. All right, let's go. Yeah, huge difference once you start using tonality, facial expressions, and pattern interrupts. So we'll go into that for sure next. Let's roll. So this method, if you're on Instagram, it might be backwards. It's totally okay, but here we go. If you're on Facebook, you can see everything straight. So Facebook, this is also on YouTube as well. If you look at me on YouTube, we're going live on YouTube and you can see this directly right behind me. So when I'm taking somebody through a sales process, I have a script that I'm going through. Now you might have different scripts depending on what your sales process looks like. Let's say I'm in a big B2B sales process and I have multiple sales calls. I would have multiple aspects of this script and I would still take somebody through a process every time I speak to them. So typically when you are going through this process, the first 7 to 12 seconds, you have triggered in this person's brain, this prospect's brain, curiosity, or you've triggered some type of resistance. You've made them feel like you're the knowledgeable expert, or they feel like they can't trust you. And this can be as simple as how you show up on Zoom, if you show up on Zoom or if you show up in person, right? Or the tone of your voice if you're on a phone call. Your tone of your voice regardless, but it's even more enhanced when you're on a phone call. I was reviewing a call with a girl today, right? Super powerful girl, super smart. And she gets on a call with a B2B company, and the call starts right here. And you could just see her face, right, on Zoom. And I see this all the time, like at least several times a week when I'm reviewing calls where it looks off. When you first start a conversation, people need to see your hands if you're on Zoom. If they can't see your hands, subconsciously you feel like there's something wrong. Subconsciously you feel like they're hiding something. So we want to make sure that people can see your hands. They can see the trust plane. This is the trust plane of when they're talking to you, especially when they're wanting to be taking you seriously. For my ladies, you can't start off the call with all the smiling. Oh my God, can't wait. I'm so excited to be on this call. Especially if you keep getting the feedback, right, that people need to think about it because they might not be taking you seriously. So we typically have multiple questions for this stage. And when we go through questioning, when we go through scripting, now, regardless if it's inbound calls, outbound calls, cold calls, you take them through some type of rapport phase where you're asking them specific questions, okay? And you typically ask, about 3 to 4 questions here, okay, at the beginning of a conversation. Let's say for this example that somebody else already like SDR this, somebody else booked this on an appointment, and we're going through like a 1 hour long script. It can be for B2B, B2C. I'll give you a couple different examples depending on the industry of how many questions you need for each section. But it's important that we are learning the tonalities that come with each section so that we can get this person to hang on every word that we're saying. Yeah. The second aspect, current situation, right? This is when we try to understand what's going on in their world. We're trying to understand their situation, and we're trying to get them to understand their current situation. Most people have no idea what their situation is, okay? Like they don't really understand the grasp of it because humans avoid pain and avoid fear, right? So our brains don't want to think about it. So as a salesperson, your job is to help this person think about things that are uncomfortable so that they can start feeling what that feels like in their body. Now, when you ask about their situation, depending on your industry, it could be in between 3 to 4 to like 8 questions. Now, typically with insurance, it will be like 6 to 7, right? With B2B, it can be large like that too, 6 to 7. If it's not as complex, maybe it can be like 4 to 6. With B2C, it's like 3 to 4. Yeah. So again, depending on your industry, depending on what we're doing here, this is only logical based questions. Don't let them throw you a curveball. If they start talking about how awful something is, like don't take the bait. We're just going to keep rolling with it, and we're going to go into the next aspect of the sale of this conversation. Yes. Once we finish there, we go into the pain. So we basically took this situation and we're asking them about the pain. And as you notice here, I put like little onions with each thing. We're always asking for clarity. We're like peeling layers off the onion as they're talking to us. So if they're telling us about the pain, we're wanting to know how it's affecting them and how it's affecting other aspects of what they're doing. Regardless if they're B2B, B2C, door to door, it doesn't matter. They are being affected by something. Make sure next time don't see mirror camera on IG. We see right to left. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I have no idea, but if you want to send me a little tutorial video, help a girl out. I'll try to figure out for next time for sure. I'm on YouTube as well. We're going live on YouTube, so you can definitely see this video on here if you want to see the whole thing. When you talk about pain, we want to figure out how it's affecting other areas of your life. Now, if we're talking about business, we want to figure out how it's affecting other areas of the company, right? We always want to go outside in. So typically it's affecting some type of area, then it's affecting people, then it's affecting them personally. But there's different layers to this. I can't just go to the center. I have to peel the layers of the onion first. And typically the root of somebody's problem is 3 to 4 layers deep, which means 3 to 4 questions deep, 3 to 4 trying to understand and get clarity deep. There's like different aspects of this. Change the camera from front to rear and then just adjust it. Well, I could do that. Let's see. Hold on. Can y'all see that now? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Let me know if y'all can see me in here. Okay, great. Yay. Good job. Y'all are so smart. So good. Let's see if I don't knock that over. Okay. So we want to make sure we're asking from the outside in, and then we ask for the center. Now, people are not going to just open up to you and tell you the pain, okay? That's just not how humans are wired. So you have to learn tonality here in order for somebody to want to open up to you, right? You can use techniques like mirroring, right? Where somebody tells you something painful and you re-say the word for them to open up. You say words with confusion, with doubt. You're placing seeds of doubt as they're talking to you. Let's say somebody says, like, I've been feeling really stressed lately. You know, you're like, well, stressed? Or you could say, well, how did you mean by stress? Just so I can understand. And getting them to elaborate, getting them to go underneath the surface so that you can have some understanding. How would this work if you were an appointment setter and somebody else closed the lead? An appointment setter is a little bit different. You're going to change the situation. Typically, if you're setting appointments in the DMs, what you want to do is qualify them, right? An example of that would be like, let's say you're closing leads for like marketing services, right? You're just like, okay, let's say that you're like selling like like network marketing or something. Maybe the first question would be like, what do you do for work, right? You're just qualifying them. Or let's say you sell sales training. It would be like, are you in sales or what do you do? So some type of qualifying question. Then you want them to figure out what they want in the future. So like, well, with training in place, like how much would you want to be making? Well, with a business, with your own business, how much time would you want to have back? You get them to envision the future. And then you ask, how does that compare to where you're at right now? And that's what creates the gap. And then you ask if they want to change that. And you act shocked, use a lot of emojis, use GIFs. You're an appointment setter, GIFs really help, like those type of GIFs. And then ask if it would be appropriate to book a call. Like, I don't know if this would help or not. Would it be appropriate to book a call with our team to see if we can help? It's a lot shorter process. You should have maybe like 8 to 11 questions total. It's a different type of process, okay? People have short attention spans for a DM setting, so it's a little bit different. If you cold call as an appointment setter. If you cold call as an appointment setter, that's going to be report questions. If you go on my YouTube on the lives, I have something on cold calling. So I would go watch that video on how to cold call. The whole point of that cold call is to set an appointment. So you would say, I don't know if this would be helpful or not, or I don't know if this would even make sense for us to talk or not. Would it be appropriate for us to set up a call with my team to see if we can help? Maybe you're better off staying with who you already have. I don't know what you sell. And then you set up that call. So go look at the cold call training, or just DM me here, DM me on Instagram or on Facebook and say, hey, can I have your cold call training? And then somebody on my team will send that video over to you. Gotcha. Okay, let's go back into this. So once we found this pain, these type of questions, it really can go anywhere. You can have lots of questions. The main thing is you want to find multiple problems. When is somebody going to be more likely to buy? When they have multiple problems or just one problem? When they have multiple reasons to buy or just a couple reasons? We want to find as many reasons for them to buy, right? And so I'm trying to get to the center of this. If I cannot find the pain, it's going to be very difficult for them to buy from me. So I want to make sure that I am going underneath the surface trying to find that pain. Yeah. Now, when it comes to past awareness, this is what I'm trying to do to understand what they've done in the past to try to solve their problem. This is going to be really important for you to understand any red flags that this person could possibly have. So I asked this question to find out if there's any issues with how they make decisions. So like, let's say I'm talking to a large company. I'm like, well, before today, like, what have you been out there doing about putting the new software in place for your doctors so that they can get more time back by dictating their notes? And they're like, well, we've met with 4 different companies so far. What's a big red flag for me? That they haven't made a decision. Why are they bouncing around? Why haven't they moved forward with somebody yet? So I need to stay here and kind of figure out what that is. Because if I move towards the end of this call and I don't figure out what that is, we're not going to close. Yes. And lastly, when I am here, this is going to be maybe 2 to 4 questions for past. Future awareness, I'm just trying to get them to envision what their future will look like once their newfound problems are changed, right? So I will stay maybe 5 to 10 minutes here. I just want them to tell me and tell themselves what they really want. And I want them to expand their gap. So if they tell me, oh, I want this, I'd be like, well, what's something more than that? I'm trying to get them to widen the gap. The bigger the gap, the easier it is to close. What would their life be like once this newfound problem is solved? What would their business be like? What would the team be like once this newfound problem is solved, right? Again, depending on your industry. Them telling me, more importantly, telling themselves. When they're doing this, they're releasing oxytocin in their brain. It's really beautiful. So I'm getting them to imagine this. I'm getting them to envision this. I'm getting them to experience this. And then I take it away and I ask them ramification questions. Typically, I ask about 2 questions here about like, well, what would happen if you don't change this and this gets worse? Or what would happen if you don't put this newfound thing in place and, you know, everything doesn't change and you're in the same situation the next, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. What if it gets worse, right? Again, I'm talking a little fast because I'm trying to be quick here. But the whole point is I'm trying to get them to think about consequences. When I do this, their body releases cortisol in their body. They go back into fight or flight. And now, because we went through pain to pleasure to pain, they feel this internal tension in their body. They want to do something. And then I transition. So if I'm in a B2B call, I transition into a secondary call. And then I'm asking them questions about what is our next natural steps. Now, this is where I see a lot of girls get messed up, especially in B2B. You're like, oh my gosh, like we went through this call, let's do a demo, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden they tell you that they're going to talk to their board or whatever and get back to you. And then you never hear from them again. Or you're chasing them for months. Like it's ridiculous. You don't need to be chasing these people for months. We just need clarity. If they say that they're going to talk to someone and get back to you, you have to raise your status. Yeah, I would love to. I'm not quite sure I could be, possibly I'm not quite sure that I could be randomly available like that. Schedule's pretty hectic this week. What I could do if it helps is I can pull out my calendar if you want to pull out yours and vice versa. That way we can book a specific time. That way you don't have to chase me down. Would that be helpful? If they're like, well, I don't really know if this person is available at that time, then book a time for a tentative time. Be like, well, what time, what would be your time frame on asking them and getting back to me just to make sure that our appointment on Wednesday works? I could let you know by the end of the day. Okay, great. Well, let's do this. I'm going to put this there tentatively for Wednesday because my calendar gets filled up quickly. And then for today, I'm going to put like a 10-minute calendar link, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to put a 10-minute appointment or call later today, a 10-minute call on Zoom, just so that we can hop on. So hop on and just let me know if that work time works. If not, what would be the better time? We'll arrange it and we'll send out the invites. And then that way, everything will be good for Wednesday. Would that help you? Yes. Like, it's just like, hey, I'm busy. Let's go. And then John, before you go, I guess let's say that we go over the demonstration on Wednesday and it really shows how it can help you guys do X, Y, and Z. What would be like our natural next steps at that point? Oh, we would do business together. Okay, great. Oh, we would keep shopping around. Oh, red flag. So you have to kind of figure it out. It's through your communication style. It's through your questioning ability where you can find out like if this is good to go or if it's not. If there's red flags, you have to stop. You have to keep figuring out what's going on, get some clarity. If you move forward and you're brushing things underneath the rug, like you're not going to close, it's going to be a rough time. Yeah. Is closing over the phone the second time good for trustability and B2B? It just depends. I highly, highly recommend Zoom. COVID changed the world for everything. People are the least trusting people ever. If you're doing large sales, seeing somebody is a little bit more trusting than not, but that's my opinion. All right, and then if I'm in a 1 call close, I would transition straight into a presentation. Now, if on a 2 call close, I wouldn't just hop on and start doing a demonstration. I would go over some type of aspect of the question so that there is a little bit of structure and so that their brain can relive all the pain again. And then I would go into a presentation, and then I would get them to commit, and then we would move forward. Again, I had to hop on here quickly. So if you're wanting to learn how to make this feminine, go into more detail of this, start writing out your script in a feminine way that's going to really help you sell more without having to work as hard, without sounding awkward, without sounding like a dude, just DM me the word master script, or I think in the link in my bio, we have access to that masterclass on Instagram. So just hop on that, register. For my VIPs, we're going to be going backstage for an hour afterwards, working on some internal stuff. Give an objection handling guidebook, a scripting guidebook as well. We'll send your way. I think it's only like $97. So you can get access to that as well. I will see you guys soon. Hope that was helpful. I don't know. I have to turn this back around. There we go. Hope that was helpful for you guys. I appreciate you. Hope that you could have seen me the whole time. All right. And I will see you guys soon. Bye, guys.